Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here. This is episode 106 of the American Reveille Podcast. And on today's episode, we're going to talk all about Dr. Levine again, because the Senate just confirmed Dr. Levine, the transgender, the child abuser. And I don't give a crap what you say. If you're willing to put children on hormone blockers and lop their genitalia off, you are a child abuser. All right. We have a big problem in this country, and we're going to have to talk about it. We're going to have to talk about it very carefully. All right. Because there are people that are true transgenders in this country. All right. They live their life the way they want to live their life, and God be with you. That's not my business. All right. I'm libertarian like that. You do you, I do me. I'm cool with that. But when you come after our kids, you're crossing a very, very red line in the sand there, folks. My God, whoever thought that would be okay? Whoever thought that would be okay? So in this episode, guys, we're going to talk about the fact that Rachel Levine was confirmed in the first place. We're going to remind you about the spat between Rand Paul and Dr. Rachel Levine. I'm going to then bring up a study, all right, from Psychology Today that shows how transgenderism is spreading amongst our children. And this is very personal to me. I have young daughters, all right, and I love my daughters no matter what they choose and whatever happens to them. But guys, they could be susceptible to this because the way it's spreading, it's going through the social channels. All right, not traditionally like science shows it should. And I'm going to reveal some of that science to you. And I'm going to put this challenge out here right now to the LGBT community, to a transgender out there. And I'll show you the respect you deserve. All right, you're a person. I'm a person. None of us have any issues with each other. My issue is that truly, all right, if a child is a transgender, believes they're a transgender, all right, I want to see the science. I want to see the science that shows that transitioning at that age, that shows that getting involved with these social circles. I want to see the science that shows that it's a good thing. I want to see the science that shows it's okay, the science that shows it doesn't hurt anybody. In fact, I want to see the science that shows that it improves our society. You show me that, I'll shut my mouth. All right. But the problem is, I don't think that exists. I don't think you think that exists. All right, guys. And at the end of this, just for S's and giggles, I'm going to remind you that Dr. Levine was the one that put out the orgy regulations during COVID-19. So that's who's running the show as the Assistant Health and Human Services Secretary. It's just great. It's awesome. It's awesome. Episode 106, guys. Cheers. Ladies and gentlemen, James Lane here. This is episode 106 of the American Reveille Podcast. How you guys doing? Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching, listening. However you're getting this, if you're driving by the planet in your spaceship and you're locking your doors and you're hearing this on the radio waves, then hello to you as well. Guys, this episode, by the way, it's sponsored by this really, really awesome product, Ancient Life Oil. I got the bottle right here. I take it every day. This is a broad spectrum CBD oil. And if you don't know about CBD, CBD is great for relieving pain. All right. It's great for anxiety, depression, all kinds of stuff like that. Really good stuff. All the things they say that marijuana can benefit people, except CBD doesn't give you the high. All right. It's a hemp oil extract. It's blended with coconut oils. It's really, really actually kind of tasty. You don't really taste it. You kind of get like this hint, but it's very kind of like this coconut kind of hint. It's really nice. And it just kind of takes the edge off of things. I like it. I really like it. I swear by products like this. I've been taking CBD oil for a long time, and when I stumbled upon this product, it really, really was just a step up. It was a step up from the other ones. So I like it. I think you should give it a try. Go to ancientlifeoil.com, ANCIENT lifeoil.com. All right. Use promo code James for free shipping and handling. Promo code James for free shipping and handling. If you want, you could stay tuned at the end of this episode. I put together a little 2-minute ad so you could see a little more about Ancient Life Oil and its benefits. I really believe you will like the product, and it'll help you with your needs. All right. You got some pain. You got nagging back pain and knee pain. It'll take the edge off. It's not a cure. I'm not selling you a cure. I'm not a snake oil salesman guy. What I'm trying to let you know is that I'm selling you something that will give you just a little bit, just enough, just that kick you need, right? Just that relief you need to take the edge off. And sometimes that's all we need, right? Sometimes that's all we need to get through the day. All right. I have tons of injuries. I know how it can be to feel stiff and feel crappy all day. My jaw's always popping. You heard that? My neck, everything. This stuff really takes the edge off. So give it a try. AncientLifeOil.com, promo code James. Get yourself a bottle today. All right, guys, we have to talk about Dr. Rachel Levine. All right, Dr. Rachel Levine was just confirmed. She's just confirmed. All right. And Murkowski, of course, and Susan Collins, of course, rhinoed their asses over to the Democrat Party and joined in the fray, bringing in the historic first transgender assistant health secretary. I don't care that Dr. Rachel Levine is a transgender, and I don't care that she prefers to be called a female. If she wants to be called a female, I'm referring to her as she, right? Who cares? It doesn't affect me. It doesn't change anything. What I care about is the fact that she has an agenda for our children. She has an agenda for our children, our babies, ladies and gentlemen. She is all for recruiting more, building the transgender army almost. The problem is there are real transgenders. And then there are transgenders that may be going through a confusing period of time in their life because they're young and they're being flooded with hormones. All right. Things change. People's brains develop. If you are over the age of 25, 30, 35, something like that, 40, 50 even, you remember 10 years ago, you remember 10 years before that, you're a completely different person, aren't you? If you're not, I mean, then you probably haven't gone much. Gone anywhere, gone much of anywhere in life. I mean, you got to change. You got to evolve. That's what life's all about. The problem is people like Dr. Rachel Levine want to stop the evolution, cut off the change, block puberty in our children, because our children, as young as 3 years old, may be acting somewhat like the other sex, like some kids do. Some girls are tomboys, and then they grow up to be very successful women that are heterosexuals. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. And then some don't. Some become lesbian, bisexual. So there's nothing. That's their choice. That's their choice. Remember, again, nobody's attacking any of that in this episode. This episode, I made this episode strictly because when you cross the line of messing with our children, it becomes a problem. And nobody is addressing it like that. Everybody's still like, oh, transgender people, please don't get me fired. That's what everybody's doing. But somebody has to step up and say it. It doesn't matter if you're straight or gay or bi or lesbian or transgender or any pronoun or any identity you want to be. All right? You mess with kids, you're a piece of crap. Can't we all just agree with that? Seriously, that should be a common sense question. Can't we all just agree? Like, can't we just say, hey, listen, everybody under 18 is off limits with all this garbage from everything, from all sides, from LGBT side, from politics on all sides, from everything. Can we just leave them out of it? Can we, hey, even extremist groups, Antifa, supremacy groups and BLM groups and sects that aren't Marxists and sects that are Marxist and all that, can we just leave can we just Pink Floyd the Wall this shit? Hey, teachers, leave them kids alone. Like, can't we? Right? I feel like this is like I'm giving the speech. Like, can't we all just get along? Like, no, but seriously, guys, can't we just leave the kids alone? That's the problem I have. That's why this person can go F themselves. Not because I give a one freaking Dutch shit. Not because I give one Dutch Irish shit about whatever Rachel Levine does. Whatever Dr. Rachel Levine does with her life. I don't. It has no effect on me. But when her policies start trickling down and affect my daughters, now I have a friggin' problem with Dr. Rachel Levine. Can't we agree with that? Can't people in the LGBT community and on the left see that as well? Can't you just leave the kids alone? Hey, Chuck Schumer. Hey, Nancy Pelosi. Hey, Joe Biden. All right. Hey, Democrats everywhere, across the land, rich and poor alike. Can you just leave the kids the F alone? All right. We can all settle this like adults, but leave the kids out of it. That's my problem. All right. The left has been going through our children. All right. You've seen it. You know what I'm talking about. You can't deny it. There is no denying it. All right. Look, I'm done with that rant. All right. We take a breath here, get a sip. Hold on. Jeez. I am feeling salty today. Jeez. Urgh. The kid thing pisses me off. I love my babies. Oh, I feel like the primal like man in me, like that caveman that, you know, the thing that all people on the left hate about alpha male type people. Like I feel my rage, like primal rage inside of me. Like I'm thinking about what they're doing to kids. And it's like, I just want to tear somebody's arms off and beat them with it. And okay, anyway, woosah, woosah, good things. Woosah. Anyway, let's get to reading, guys. This is Christina Layla. By the way, all right, and no, the picture of Rachel Levine, I'm sorry, is not Christina Layla. I'm saying this article's by Christina Layla. Sorry, Christina. What I'm saying really quick, though, is do me a favor. Wherever you're watching, listening, hearing this, streaming this, subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment if you could, share this with everybody you can. We are doing everything in our power to get through the wall of censorship. We have a really awesome sticker contest coming with a $200 grand prize. It's going to be going national. We have marketing campaigns we're about to start running in the next few months. We're going to do everything we can to get past this wall of censorship, but we need your help. I'm not going to ask you, like, of course, you know, hey, if you would like to donate, you can go to AmericanReveille.com, hit the support us tab. Please, we could use your donations and it'll go into building this organization, but we don't need that. All right. We don't need it. We don't. I'm not pressuring you to do anything like that. All I need from you, my American patriot brothers and sisters, is to please follow what we're doing, share what we're doing. Just help us get the word out. All right. With that being said, let's get into the article. Finally, again, by Christina Layla. All right. The Senate on Wednesday confirmed Dr. Rachel Levine, a transgender, as Assistant Health Secretary in a 52-48 vote. Rhino Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski joined Democrats and supported Levine. Levine, though, has a horrible track record. Horrible. And Levine really does. Really. The things Levine's done to kids. Remember, Levine was Pennsylvania's Secretary of Health, guys. All right. The Secretary of Orgies in Pennsylvania. I'll remind you at the end. Don't worry. The coronavirus ravaged nursing homes across the U.S. because of the deadly Democrat policies of forcing people infected with COVID-19 back into the long-term care facilities. Dr. Levine, however, made sure it says his in the article. I'm going to just refer to, I'm not here to start issues based upon people's sexual identity and what they believe to be they are and all that stuff. I'm a little more libertarian in that aspect. You know, I'm a little more libertarian in that aspect. It's just like, you do you, I'll do me. You know, I believe in God. I believe in a lot more traditional things. You do you. Not my business, right? Some other people that listen to this show and some people that I'm really close friends with, you guys are very, very protective of a different, a way of thinking. And hey, that's your right as well. Everybody in this country should have the right to believe what they believe. So the article says I'm not trying to start fights with a million people over gender and stuff like that. What I'm trying to make a point about, and this is why I'm going to say her. All right. This is why and it might piss some of you off, but this is why I don't want to take the focus away from the kids. Again, the whole reason I'm doing this show on Rachel Levine is because I'm trying to expose what's happening to our children. All right. And the people facilitating it. So if I sit here and I go, make sure his 95-year-old, and then everyone's like, rah, 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 gender identity. And then it's all going to become about that. And everybody's going to forget the children. All right. So let's just be respectful on that. If not for the sole purpose of ensuring the children get the proper attention they need. All right. We can agree to that. Can't we? I think we can. I think that's fair. I think that's very, very fair. All right. So let's reread this sentence. Dr. Levine, however, made sure her 95-year-old mother was removed from the death box and transported safely to a hotel. I remember that. Don't you remember that? When Dr. Rachel Levine, if you were reading on the Gateway, but I mean, I read so much news, guys, hours every day, and I work every day too. All right. Like I'm doing this right now, super early it's like 2 a.m. guys. All right. It's ungodly. I'm going to record this. I'm going to do all the production for a few hours. All right. Then I'm going to go to work. All right. Then I have school all night. Trust me. It's garbage. No sleep. All right. There ain't no sleep till Brooklyn. Isn't that what they say? There's no rest for the wicked. I remember reading, because I read, like I said, hours of news every day. Dr. Levine, however, right? It says, however, made sure her 95-year-old mother was removed from the death box and transported to a hotel. I remember reading about that. I remember a whole article being done about all of the different things that were happening across the states. And it showed Dr. Levine quietly removing her mom from the nursing home to a private facility, like a hotel or whatever it was. It's crazy. It's so crazy what these people in power can get away with. Anything. If I sneezed wrong, a SWAT team would kick in my door. All right. If I farted on the freeway, all right, I would get a ticket in the mail saying that the fart cam smelled my fart at the freaking AOC pollution tunnel. And that's not allowed. That's just not allowed. Greenhouse gases, something about cows, no booty extraction. I don't know what to tell you. So the power's real, guys. The power is real. And the term transgender sends fear down people's spine these days. You know, it's real power. You can't speak up. You can't say anything. But for the love of God, I'm going to say something because of our children. And again, I'm going to bring it back one more time. I'm going to say that's why. I'm going to refer. You might get pissed off at me, but I'm going to say it again just so you have no leg to stand on. I'm going to freaking cut this clip out and send it to you if you bitch and moan about it. Listen, I'm going to refer to Dr. Levine by her preferred pronouns. If anything, for the fact that I don't want the attention to be drawn to that garbage over the children that could possibly be hurt and have already been hurt. All right. When confronted by a reporter for moving his mother out of the elderly care facility while allowing others to die, Levine answered by reading prepared notes and talking points. Quote, well, my mother is actually a resident of a personal care facility, not a nursing home, and that is regulated by the Department of Human Services, not the Department of Health, Levine said. My mother requested, and my sister and I, as her children, complied to move her to another location during the COVID-19 outbreak. My mother is 95 years old. She is very intelligent and more than competent to make her own decisions. I have to read it like that because just in my imagination, that's what I believe Dr. Rachel Levine should sound like. Okay? Just look. Yes, I will come eat your face. If you are listening to this, I am actually showing a picture of Dr. Rachel Levine with her mouth agape. It's very frightening, like Dr. Oaken from Independence Day. Release me. You know who I'm talking about? No, but seriously, I'm showing a picture and making that voice. It really, that's just what I believe Dr. Levine should sound like. Look, Dr. Levine also, all right, believes minors can make their own decisions to receive puberty blockers. Dr. Levine also refused to answer Dr. Rand Paul's questions about hormone therapy to 3-year-olds. Do you remember that? I remember that very well. Do you want to watch the video? I think we should watch the video. And if you're listening, you'll get to hear it. Don't worry. All right. Senator Rand Paul said this to Dr. Rachel Levine. You're willing to let a minor take things to prevent their puberty. You think they get that back? You've permanently changed them. There's no long-term studies. We don't know what happens to them. And like I've said before, and I'll say again, if you can show me scientific studies based on real science, not based on woke science or changed definitions or words that you go, those don't matter no more. Those aren't real. No definition is different now. No. If science is science, science is science. All right. Not your stupid stuff. If you prove it scientifically, not emotionally, but logically and scientifically, we'll all back down. You show us how this is beneficial to our kids. You can't, then it's child abuse, period. Like I said a bunch in the beginning, can't we just agree just to stay the F away from the kids? Just stay away from the kids. Let's have a listen to Dr. Rand Paul.
Let it go into the record that the witness refused to answer the question. The question is a very specific one. Should minors be making these momentous decisions? For most of the history of medicine, we wouldn't let you have a cut sewn up in the ER. But you're willing to let a minor take things that prevent their puberty, and you think they get that back? You give a woman testosterone enough that she grows a beard, you think she's going to go back looking like a woman when you stop the testosterone? You have permanently changed them. Infertility is another problem. None of these drugs have been approved for this. They're all being used off-label. I find it ironic that the left that went nuts over hydroxychloroquine being used possibly for COVID are not alarmed that these hormones are being used off-label. There's no long-term studies. We don't know what happens to them. We do know that there are dozens and dozens of people who've been through this who regret that this happened and a permanent change happened to them. And, you know, if you've ever been around children, 14-year-olds can't make this decision. In the gender dysphoria clinic in England, 10% of the kids are between the ages of 3 and 10. We should be outraged that someone's talking to a 3-year-old about changing their sex. I can't vote for you if you can't make a decision.
Thank you so much, Senator Paul. Senator Levine, thank you for answering the question.
That's so hard. Just as a father with daughters, that brought freaking tears to my eyes. Just to even hear him say that. That was not intentional. Sorry. Look, I worry. I'm not lying. Obviously, you know I'm not lying. I have daughters, all right? If they come to a conscious decision as adults, then that's their choice and I'll love them. But I'm not going to have my kids brainwashed into a cult because of social pressures. All right? That's what you have to understand. Are there some people that truly feel this way and should be respected? Yes. But it's not everybody. It's not everybody. And it's time to stop blanket categorizing our children. It's time to start understanding what's real and what's fantasy. All right? Again, you guys want to poison all of our cultures and all that and blah, 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 blah. Can we leave the kids out of it? lefties, just leave the kids out of it. That's the whole thing I've been pushing. All right. I don't want anyone to focus on the fact that she's a transgender. I want you to focus on the fact that she's a transgender willing to poison your children into believing they may be transgender. And before they can decide through maturity and through understanding themselves whether or not they are transgender, they're stopping their hormones, their puberty, they're changing their sex. You don't believe me? I have an article for you guys. Check this out. Just check this out. I was going to go a different way first, but we're going to circle back. Take a look. All right. Take a look what's happening to our kids. Let's go here. This is Psychology Today. Why is transgender identity on the rise among teens? All right. This is Samuel Paul Viessiere, PhD, ladies and gentlemen. Transgender identity is characterized by experiencing distress with or an inability to defend with one's biological sex, usually prompting a desire to live one's life as the opposite sex. In the DSM-5, the standard classification of mental disorders used by mental health professionals, this condition is known as gender dysphoria. Note that classifying gender dysphoria as a disorder does not, indeed should not, imply a moral judgment of transgender individuals. Depending on the degree of social stigma associated with it, transgender identity can be accompanied by very significant distress. The point of the mental health outlook is to help reduce stigma and assist transgender individuals in leading good lives. The role of social norms in this picture, however, remains unclear and hotly debated. Now, we could read all this stuff and it would be a bunch of boring mumbo jumbo and you'd fall asleep. So we're going to skip past it, okay? I'm looking to skip to the families. I'm looking to skip to the people like you and me. All right. The people who are trying to live lives and raise our children in America. All right. In a recent survey, this is where we're starting. In a recent survey of 250 families whose children developed symptoms of gender dysphoria during or right after puberty, Lisa Littman, a physician and professor of behavioral science at Brown University, found that over 80% of the youth in her sample were female at birth. Interesting. Littman's study reported many other surprising findings. To meet the diagnostic criteria for gender dysphoria, a child typically needs to have shown observable characteristics of the condition prior to puberty, such as a strong rejection of typically feminine or masculine toys, or a strong resistance to wearing typically female or masculine clothes. Again, 80% of the parents in the study reported observing none of these early signs in their children. All right, 80% observed none of those signs, 80% were female. The plot thickens again. First, many of the youth in the survey had been directly exposed to one or more peers who had recently come out as trans. Next, 63.5% of the parents reported that in the time just before announcing they were trans, their child had exhibited a marked increase in internet and social media consumption. Following popular YouTubers who discussed their transition thus emerged as a common factor in many of the cases. After the youth came out, an increase in distress, conflict with parents, and voiced antagonism towards heterosexual people and non-transgender people known as cis was also frequently reported. This animosity was also described as extending to males, white people, gay and lesbian non-trans people, all right? They're attacking people in the LGBT community. The view adopted by trans youth, as summed up by one parent, seemed to be that, quote, in general, cisgendered people are considered evil and unsupportive, regardless of their actual views on the topic. To be heterosexual, comfortable with the gender you were assigned at birth, and non-minority places you in the most evil of categories with this group of friends. Statement of opinions by the evil cisgendered population are considered phobic, discriminatory, and are generally discounted as unenlightened. So they just brush us off. All right? We're speaking and no one's listening, ladies and gentlemen. Parents further reported being derogatorily called breeders by their children, or being routinely harassed by children who played pronoun police. The observation that they no longer recognized their child's voice came up time and time again in parental reports. The eerie similarity between the youth's discourse and trans-positive online content was repeated, emphasized. Youth were described as sounding scripted, reading from a script, wooden, like a form letter, verbatim, word for word, or practically copy and paste. If you don't have kids, you have no idea how horrible this sounds. This is what a cult does. That's the problem. That's why it's so hard for people to talk about. Nobody ever brings this up legitimately and correctly. And I'm about to do it, and I don't give a shit who it pisses off. There are legitimate young people who are legitimate transgender young people who have felt a certain way since birth, transgender, right? They transition, they are happy, and they go on with their life. But there is a large percent of people running parallel to this group of transgender people, right? That because of the programming of social media, the consumption of YouTube, and the constant advertisement, the constant virtue signaling, the constant shoving of it down people's throats, and the peer and social pressure, transgenderism with the assistance, okay? And not transgenderism, the stuff running parallel to it, but the fad of transgenderism is being spread to children like a cult. All right. And it wouldn't be possible without social media. All right. Without the velocity, the speed at which information is hitting our kids on a daily basis. Without that, it wouldn't be possible. All right. But we have an actual epidemic in this country. That's the problem. That's the issue. We have to figure out how to differentiate. All right. And if we don't want to figure out how to differentiate, then what we should do is this. If you are a child, you don't get to make this decision. Just leave the kids alone. How about that? You want to let the whole transgender thing run wild? Fine. Don't you dare give children hormones. Don't you dare cut off children's genitalia. There is such a high rate of suicide amongst transgender folks. And it's not scientifically proven that it's because they're not accepted. It's because they made a decision they regret, and it's irreversible. Like Dr. Rand Paul said, it's irreversible. You don't get to go back. When I was in my teens, I thought I was invincible. I thought I would live forever. I'm in my late 30s now. Everything hurts. Everything hurts. I have this strange lump on my arm here. I have an appointment coming up on freaking April 5th to see, maybe it's cancer. You don't worry about crap like that at 14. Frankly, I was worried about much worse stuff. Whatever 14-year-olds are thinking about. Who knows? Listen, just leave the kids alone. That's the solution. That if we can't come to an agreement, if you think it's discriminatory for us to say, well, this category or that, you can't just prey upon our children and build some transgender cult army. Okay? To the other transgenders out there, do I have any doubt that Dr. Rachel Levine's an actual transgender? No. That's why I called Dr. Rachel Levine a her. I don't care. Dr. Rachel Levine can be a her. She is who she is. But do I think that she has a diabolical plan, an evil initiative, all right, an insane, deranged theory about children? Yes, you can be, people lump everything into one cat. Like, you can be, people are complicated. They're not simple. I can be a straight person and also believe in something and then also participate in something. Everybody's a different mix, right? So you can be a transgender, but also be an evil piece of shit. That doesn't mean that because that single transgender person's an evil piece of shit, that the person calling them that is saying that about an entire community. No, that means that individual is diabolical and has evil plans for our children. That is what is going on. Lippmann hypothesizes that ROGD can be cast as maladaptive coping mechanisms for underlying mental health issues such as trauma or social maladjustment, but also for exceptional traits like high IQ and giftedness, the peer support, the prestige, the identity leveraged by the youth who proudly come out as trans certainly appears to be protective in their circles. As Lippmann's study shows, the social signaling strategy also comes with strong disadvantages, particularly as it increases conflict between trans youth and the cis majority of the population, which tellingly includes a majority of the LGBT community. That means that the trans community seems to be almost at war with the maybe for power, a power struggle within the LGBT. I think I've mentioned that before on other episodes. Within the LGBT community, there seems to be this power struggle, where the trans community, some militant part of it, wants to take over. It's kind of crazy to think about. It really is. The notion reported by parents that the ROGD appears to be scripted is also telling. Medical anthropologists describe the process of outsourcing negative feelings to cultural narratives and systems of beliefs as idioms of distress. These beliefs can be partially grounded in science and biology, as is the case with current brain-based mental health culture, or not at all, as is the case in cultures that explain mental illness through the idiom of spirit possession. When the extreme forms of distress, when extreme forms of distress and coping arise through novel social pressures and spread through implicit imitation, strange epidemics of mass psychogenic illness have been documented. These have extended to dancing plagues, possession epidemics on factory floors, fugu, I don't know what that is, states, or epidemics of face twitching. People are all just twitching their face. That's crazy. All right. I don't know what that's about. These conditions are described as psychogenic, originating in the mind, when no underlying physical cause can be determined. But the term sociogenic, which highlights the social context in which these conditions occurred, is a better description. Risk factors for proneness. There it is. Risk factors for proneness to mass sociogenic illness remain hotly debated. Tellingly, for our investigation, it is broadly recognized that females, perhaps due to their higher sensitivity to social cues on average, are overwhelmingly more prone to such phenomena. Once more, this should not be read as a moral story. Medical sociologist Robert Bartholomew is one of the world's leading experts on mass sociogenic epidemics, and he's long argued that the phenomena that are still unjustly termed mass hysteria should be renamed collective stress responses. So it's like a group of people reacting to some sort of hardship, some sort of stress, all together in a certain way. Very strange. It is clear from Lippmann's study that the rise of rapid-onset gender dysphoria, which seems to predominantly involve natal females, points to a complex web of social pressures, changing cultural norms, and new modes of distress and coping that warrant further investigation. For parents, educators, and clinicians alike, caution is warranted in dealing with this growing phenomena. That's very important to understand. Like I said, it's spreading literally like a virus, like a cult, like a phenomena, like a trend, like a fad. All right. And again, for those who really feel this way, I'm not discounting that there are transgenders in this world. I'm not discounting your identity and how you feel about who you are. All right. My statement is not a blanket statement. It's about the people running parallel to the actual transgenders. All right. The folks that at a young age, through social media and social peer pressures, are pushed into seeing transgenderism as a possible solution to their pain, to their isolation, to their social problems, all right, to their awkwardness, to whatever it is. But it's spreading in such a way, and I just read you science to prove it. So again, I challenge the militant transgender community before calling me this or calling me that, before condemning me. Show me the science. You show me the science to prove me wrong. Actual science based on scientific fact. All right? Not based on your emotions. That's what I'm looking for. Folks, Rachel Levine's a bad dudette. Okay? A bad dudette. Biden HHS nominee defended subjecting kids to chemical castration. Okay? Again, this is what I want to highlight. This is what I'm trying to bring attention to. Guys, this is from PJ Media, Tyler O'Neill, February 23rd, 2021. Pennsylvania Health Secretary Rachel Levine, all right, President Joe Biden's pick for Assistant Secretary of Health at the Department of Health and Human Services, has long defended experimental transgender treatments for children. Levine, who identifies as transgender, has refused to say whether or not he has undergone medical interventions for his own gender identity. All right. This is them referring to her as a him. All right. In the past tense, about whether or not at the time when she was a he, they were getting the change. All right. I wasn't saying it myself. I'm not saying that again for anything other than the fact that this is about the kids. So again, and I have to say this 800 times because everybody's going to focus on the transgender part. And it's kind of important, but the more important part, the really, really, really important part is the kids, plain and simple. Okay. He said that she said that her treatment was a private matter. Levine, a pediatrician. Okay. So she's a child doctor who worked at Penn State Hersey Medical Center from 93 to 2015 and who teaches pediatrics and psychology at Penn State College of Medicine, has given lectures on how to perform sex changes on children since at least 2012, the National Pulse reported. In 2014, Levine argued that adults should give children latitude to choose their genders. All right, she coached adults, try not to force them one way or the other. In 2017, Levine recommended cross-sex hormones for children in their mid-teens. According to a video of her speech obtained by the National Pulse, Levine warned about the dangers of going through the wrong puberty and encouraged hormones to prevent the natural process of adolescent development. Quote, so what if you're going through the wrong puberty? What if you're a transgender young woman, meaning male to female, and now your voice is dropping, you're getting bigger, you're getting hair everywhere, and you're growing those testicles? And what if you're a transgender young man and now you have breast development? You're experiencing it. It's terrifying, Levine argued. You have terrifying testicles. Listen, all right, again, do I doubt Levine is a transgender? No. Do I mean any disrespect whatsoever to the transgender community? No, not at all. Leave the kids alone. Again, that's it. It's not that hard. All right. So Levine, this is a transgender, which doesn't make them good or bad either way. That's just who they are. But they are a child predator who is advocating the abuse and torture of children. All right. Psychological and physical. That is what's happening. All right. There is no transgender science. Show me the actual science then. Everybody talks about it. Everybody says there's stuff, but all there is theories written by cuckoos. No actual data, no actual numbers, no actual chemicals, nothing. No science. Show it to me. Show it to me. That's where my apology will come from. But if you show me garbage, I'm not going to give you the time of day. Plain and simple. She lamented that basically there was no treatment for individuals that were under 18 under earlier guidelines. By 2017, however, new pro-transgender guidelines approved the use of experimental drugs that supposedly block the onset of puberty and cross-sex hormones. Think about this. If you're a parent, I want you to think about the parents. There's probably tens of thousands of parents out there who have no choice. They're living in states where they have no choice but to watch their children block their own puberty and screw themselves up. And then there's some really huge percentage of those kids who kill themselves. Imagine being those parents watching your kid get shots, trying to tell them to, stop what they're doing, and them telling their parents, no, dad, no, mom, you're a bigot. You're a phobe. You're cis. You don't support me. And then, a couple years later, oh, why'd you let me do this? And then they shoot themselves. This happens a lot. Don't shoot me. I'm just a messenger. I'm serious. I'm telling you what happens. It's written in scientific studies. You show me the studies. All right. I could show you studies. I could show you studies all day. You show me the studies. All right. This is like, here, look, show me the studies. Show me the studies, instead of show me the money. Anyway. Okay. It's not the 90s anymore. I get it. All right. Research shows, all right, that there are significant risks with sex reassignment surgery, including heart conditions, cancer risk, loss of bone density. And some of these endocrinologists have warned about the negative effects of puberty blockers and cross-sex hormones. All right, just like Rand Paul said, these things are not FDA approved. These things have no long-term studies. All right. Levine noted that children's hospitals still do not encourage these kind of treatments for pre-pubertal children, but that changes at the onset of puberty. All right. Pre-pubertal, excuse me. I guess you say it like that. Hospitals still do not encourage these kinds of treatments for pre-pubertal. I've never said that word one time in my entire life, and now I've said it like 3 times. All right. Quote, the first phase at the young adolescent age is to give what they call a puberty blocker. All right. A pubertal blocker, medicine to block the progression, low doses that you gradually increase, Levine explained. The treatment supposedly ensures that they never go through the wrong puberty. That way, for a transgender woman, male to female, their voice doesn't drop. They don't have hair. And for a transgender man, they don't have breast development. They don't have periods. So you block puberty, and then you can, at the appropriate time, send them into a puberty consistent with their gender identity. What gives them the right to play God? Right? No? All right? These are kids. These are kids. Again, you shouldn't have the ability to make this decision before your brain is coherent. All right. The studies truly show that your brain isn't mostly developed until your mid-20s, for the love of God. So 18 is even pushing it. But they come after our kids. And that's not a blanket statement. I'm just talking about militant folks. I truly believe that there's some sort of secret freaking, I don't know, underground John Wick-like war in the transgender community, like among true people and like militant people, like seriously. All right. I believe that. I believe if we went out and surveyed 100,000 people from the LGBT community, not just like 19-year-old militant LGBTQ plus 76 freaking people. I'm talking with an age range, 18 to 65. and got old school folks in there from the LGBT, there would be a massive majority of people from the LGBT community that said that there is some kind of violent, crazy, militant group trying to take over the LGBT community, because most people living in those lifestyles, living in that community, they just want equality and to be just left the hell alone. You know? Hey, I get to do everything you can do, and I want to go have a beer and hang out with my significant other. Whatever the hell. Live my life. And then there's the ones that are marching in the streets, screaming for white people to be put into chains and sent to the gulags. All right? That's woke LGBTQ. I think maybe there needs to be a split, a divide, some sort of classification. There's the regular LGBTQ people, and then there is the woke LGBTQ people. Because I'm sure just like most of us can't stand wokeness, all right, regular people in the LGBTQ community can't stand wokeness either. All right. It can't be a majority. It's just what the freaking fake MSM is showing us. That's all it is. That's all it is. All right. I call it a development blocker. Quote, it's actually causing a disease. Dr. Michael Laidlaw, an independent private practice endocrinologist in Rocklin, California, who consults with Sutter Roseville Medical Center, told PJ Media. The disease in question is hypogonadotropic hypogonadism. It appears when the brain fails to send the right signal to the gonads to make the hormones necessary for development. While endocrinologists, doctors who specialize in hormones and the endocrine system, are familiar with the disease and gladly treat it when a patient has been diagnosed, many of them are effectively causing their patients to contract the same disease in an attempt to affirm gender identity, Laidlaw said. An endocrinologist might treat a condition where a female's testosterone levels are going to be outside the normal range. We'll treat that, and we're aware of metabolic problems, and at the same time, an endocrinologist may be giving high levels of testosterone to a female to transition her. Children with gender dysphoria, the condition of persistently identifying with the gender opposite one's biological sex, are extremely unlikely to continue in that condition after puberty without medical interventions like puberty blockers. Many realize they are not transgender, but instead gay or lesbian, like detransitioner Charlotte Evans, who launched a network for formerly transgender people. There's no evidence that transgender surgery improves the mental health outcomes of gender dysphoric people. Okay, men and women who formerly identify as transgender and underwent surgery have grown to reject transgender identity and lament the damage they did to their own bodies. That happens in the majority of cases. All right, of those who intervene with their own body's development before their brains developed enough to make a decision about who they really are. Why is it not okay for them to go, hey, maybe I'm gay. Hey, maybe I'm straight. Hey, maybe I am transgender, but I waited and I really figured it out, so now I'm happy with my choice. What is wrong with that? Wouldn't that lead to happier, healthier, more productive adults? Isn't that what we should be striving for? No. What they're striving for is power, ladies and gentlemen. Power to change the world as we know it. Okay? Last year, Britain's High Court ruled that children under age 16 lack the ability to consent to puberty-blocking drugs and cross-sex hormones that have irreversible lifelong effects. Children who undergo such treatments often persist in transgender identity and lose their ability to have children later in life. So some refer to cross-sex hormones as puberty blockers, as chemical castration. And I believe that, all right, because literally they alter the person so much that they go sterile. All right. If you really, for the socialists out there, you're thinking about the collective. Shouldn't you be worried about birth rates? Yeah. Anyway, you need minions, don't you, socialists? Many states are considering laws that would prevent doctors from prescribing these experimental treatments for minors. However, it seems extremely likely that Biden and the Democrats in Congress will further these dangerous treatments in legislation and regulations connected to the Equality Act. And it's in there. We saw it's in there. They put gender identity under the Civil Rights Act of 1964. All right. And then they allow kids who identify what way ever they identify Monday to Tuesday to shower with our daughters. It's written in there. I read it to you in a previous episode. I did. Crazy, crazy, crazy. By nominating Levine for a key HHS post, Biden has sent a dangerous message about transgenderism in medicine. Medicine of all fields should follow the science of biological sex over unclear notions of transgender identity. After all, Levine herself acknowledged that the causes of gender identity, which he defined as who you feel inside, remain unclear. Listen. You want to know a reason besides anything, the best reason I can think of, actually, to go by gender for science, for healthcare? Because all of healthcare, right, is based upon your genes, your hormones, your gender. So if we treat you medically and you're identifying as a male, right, and you're born a female, and you have some sort of cancer that affects a female part, what, are you going to get offended when they try to say that your ovary has an issue? I mean, you have to understand, you can't be protected for this. We can't treat people. This is a waste of money and time in the medical industry. This should be treated psychologically, if anything, at a very young age. And hey, look, I'm not saying that there should be like a camp. What I'm saying is there should be psychology. There should be doctors, right? And then they go through with these doctors over the years, and then the kid turns 18, and then they make a decision with themselves and their doctor and their psychologist, and they go, hey, yeah, I really do believe I'm a woman, or I really do believe I'm a guy. I do want to transition. Hey, I am gay. I'm not whatever. Hey, I am a lesbian. I don't want to cut my or grow my whatever. What's wrong with that? Or, it was a fad. I was bi for a while. Now I'm straight. What's wrong with this? Let people naturally develop and come to the conclusion as they mature, and then lop off their pee-pee or not. All right? But don't touch the kiddies. For the love of God, it shouldn't be this difficult. It really shouldn't be this difficult to explain or understand. It really shouldn't. All right. I mean, we can go on and on and on. The rest are just about chromosomes and this and that and da-da-da. I think I've pushed the point across with this. All right. What I'm trying to say with all of this, they confirm somebody just based on the fact that they're transgender. All right. And they didn't want any blowback, the people that voted. All right. They think it's beneficial for them to support that cause. All right. The problem with Dr. Rachel Levine is Dr. Rachel Levine is all about hurting our kids. That's the problem. All right. And in Dr. Rachel Levine, in her crazy head, she thinks that she's helping our kids, not hurting them. OK. And stuff that I showed you, stuff from Psychology Today and beyond, studies that they cited show that up to 80% of our young girls are being affected, all right? And that most of them, it turns out to be a fad, a trend, a cult-like thing. So if we just don't let them take the puberty blockers and hormones and stuff, and they realize later, right? I mean, this sounds like Dr. Rachel Levine is some sick person who's pissed off that she didn't do it earlier in life because she looks masculine. So she's like, I could have been beautiful if I just did it as a young child. We could stay young for like these people are out of their freaking minds. Some of these people. All right. Look, I've met some really nice, normal transgender people. All right. I'm saying normal transgender people because they were just who they were. And they were nice. There was no issue. But Dr. Rachel Levine seems like a transgender person who also would hold a hairless cat and try to take over the world. Seriously. All right. They're hurting our kids, guys. How hard is that? Do you need any more proof that Dr. Rachel Levine really doesn't have our best priorities in mind? I mean, I still have to remind you. I do. I still have to remind you that Dr. Rachel Levine is the orgy doctor of Pennsylvania. Do me a favor, though, all right? Do me one quick favor. If you really like this episode so far, if you find it informative, if you had some laughs, if you also felt like you really agree with me and understand what we're trying to do here and get across to you, and you want to contribute in some way, please head to www.americanreveille.com, all right? Go to www.americanreveille.com, hit the Support Us tab, All right, guys, and go to PayPal. It's right there. It says support us, and you can donate anything. We'll put it right back into the American Reveille, trying to grow our organization, get more talent on board, get more ways to wake up, enlighten, and really empower patriots across this country. We really could use your help. So please head over there, www.americanreveille.com, support us tab, hit that. You can donate through PayPal, and of course, we accept the cryptocurrency. Thank you so much for your support. And don't forget to subscribe, notification bell, like, and share. Folks, Pennsylvania Health Department issues preferred COVID orgy regulations. Wear a face covering, avoid kissing, and wash hands often. I did this one. I did a whole episode on this months ago. And I didn't think we were going to have to come back to it, but we're back. This is from Jim Hoft, December 16th, 2020. This was before January 6th and all the craziness that went down. This was before everything. This was right after the election, while we were still hopeful that Trump would succeed at draining the swamp. At the height of it, with COVID spiking up and down, this story had come out. All right. This gal, the Pennsylvania Department of Health, led by Dr. Rachel Levine, issued new rules for large gatherings where you might end up having sex. These large gatherings where you might end up having sex are also commonly referred to as orgies. WTH. From PA's oh-so-smart Secretary of Health, where to start if you attend a large gathering where you might end up having sex. An orgy, if you usually meet sex partners online, consider porn. Yes, I'm going to read this list to you again. Large gatherings. All right, this came out. This is Dr. Rachel Levine, a pediatrician, somebody who advocates giving your baby sex hormones and cutting your children's wee-wees off. All right? This is their major contribution during COVID. Large gatherings are not safe during COVID-19, but if you attend a large gathering where you may end up having sex, below are tips to reduce your risk of spreading or getting COVID-19 through sex. 1. Limit the number of partners. 2, try to identify a consistent sex partner. That'd be a good idea, right? At a minimum. 3, wear a face covering. Avoid kissing and do not touch your eyes, nose, or mouth with unwashed hands. So basically just have angry sex, don't make eye contact, and wear leather. I don't know. Wash your hands with soap and water often, especially before and after sex. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. That just sounds disgusting. Just imagine, just go have sex, and then there's no soap and water available, guys. So you have to go get some rubbing alcohol pads and go figure it out. Blah. If you usually meet your sex partners online, consider taking a break from in-person dates. Video dates, sexting, subscription-based fan platforms, or chat rooms may be options for you. 3, protect yourself and your partners from COVID-19 during sex. 1, avoid kissing. Kissing can easily pass the virus. 2, wear a face covering or mask. During COVID-19, wearing a mask and a face cover, it covers your nose, it covers your mouth. It's a good way to add a layer of protection during sex and those outside your household. So while you're having an orgy, just wear one of those like creepy masks from A Clockwork Orange and cover your mouth. Or you go put a Jason mask on, like the hockey goalie mask. I don't know what to tell you. All I can tell you is that forget that Rachel Levine is a transgender. She is a children's doctor who advocates child abuse. They literally just nominated an insane person to Senate. Not insane because they believe they're a woman. Look, I'm saying this 900 times because no matter what I do, they're going to misconstrue this. And it's hilarious because there's going to be 9,000 clips of me saying this. And saying the right thing and saying what I truly believe. And then there's going to be a bunch of people talking a bunch of crap. But it's true. She's not a bad person. She's not crazy because she identifies as a woman and is a transgender. No, she's out of her mind because she's in the business of hurting our children. And like Forrest Gump, that's all I gotta say about that. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode 106 of the American Reveille Podcast. Please do me a favor. Stay tuned for an extra couple seconds to watch that quick quick, good old ad that I put together about Ancient Life Oil, really awesome CBD oil, ancientlifeoil.com, promo code James, free shipping and handling. Guys, you can find me on Gab. All right. I'm on Gab at American_Reveille. Boom. I'm on Parler at the James Lane. Boom. I'm on Odyssey, American_Reveille on Odyssey. Boom. I'm on Rumble, American_Reveille. Boom. Look, I couldn't get American_Reveille everywhere. I don't know why. But listen, I'm not going to go on and on all day. Just go in the description section. You can find the website there. You can find where to donate there. You can find the newsletter there. All right. Get updates every week. You can find every single social media, every single platform you can listen and watch on. We are all over the place. And if you just look in the description section, you can support us in many, many different ways. Please like, share, follow along. I love you long time. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye. Let me get your attention for a second. I want to tell you about something. I want to share something with you that's very near and dear to me. All right, guys, I have joint pain. I'm sure it's no secret by now. All right. I have joint pain, I have hip pain, I have elbow pain, I have inflammation. All right. I get stressed out. I'm going through so much political news doing this podcast, so much. You can imagine how stressful that is. All right. How much anxiety that can cause, how many sleepless nights I have. But folks, I've been taking CBD oil for a while now. All right, for a while now, and it's fantastic. And a while ago, just a little while ago, I came across Ancient Life Oil. All right, and I got it from ancientlifeoil.com. And this stuff is fantastic. All right, it's the best source, the best and most trusted source for CBD oil in the United States. It's 100% pure. It's 100% THC free. No psychoactive effects, no high, nothing like that. Just pure CBD, pure relief from all of those issues. Relief from sleeplessness, relief from anxiety, relief from stress, from inflammation, right? Relief from joint pain, relief from all of these things that could really hinder your daily life, your daily activities, and really put you in a bad place. This stuff lifts your mood up. It's fantastic. All right, it's legal in all 50 states. People are really experiencing wonderful change in their life, basically doing something that people have been doing for thousands of years, guys. If you head to ancientlifeoil.com, ancientlifeoil.com, the same place I went, all right, the same place I went to get the stuff, you can go on there, use promo code James, James, at ancientlifeoil.com, ANCIENT, Life Oil, ANCIENT, lifeoil.com, promo code James, James, promo code James, free shipping and delivery, folks, free shipping and delivery. Guys, this is a great product. You are missing out if you need to do CBD and you're just not doing it for some reason, guys. I don't know what's stopping you anymore. It's 2021. Folks, if you want relief from these issues, you want to do it in a natural way without taking medications, you want to do it in a way that's helpful. I have found CBD oil to be very beneficial, and I believe it will be very beneficial for you as well. So one more time, ancientlifeoil.com, ANCIENT, lifeoil.com, promo code James, free shipping and delivery, folks. Give it a shot. I really, really know it'll make you a believer just like I am. All right, folks, let's get back to the show.